Senators, members of the committee, my name is Mike McCausland, and I'm an attorney in Kansas City, Missouri. I live in Kansas City. I have an office in Kansas City and Columbia, Missouri. And I'm here to testify in support of Senate Bill 617 on behalf of the Missouri Insurance Coalition, along with a number of their members, including supporting this bill, State Farm Insurance Companies, Shelter Insurance, Allstate Insurance Company, American Family Insurance, Farmers Insurance Group, Travelers Insurance Group, Liberty Mutual Insurance Group, Columbia Insurance Group, Swiss Re, CNA, Property and Casualty Insurers of America, American Insurance Association, the National Association of Mutual Insurance Companies, and Cameron Mutual Insurance Company. Obviously, there's a long list of the major carriers in the state supporting this legislation. It's my understanding, in addition to that, I think you'll have testimony that's supported by the Missouri Chamber of Commerce and also the Associated Industries of Missouri. This bill, I believe, is part of a much larger problem that we have in Missouri. I say that as an attorney. I graduated from University of Missouri Business School in 1978, law school in 1981. I've been a practicing attorney and owner of the law firm with 27 employees. So I look at its perspective as a defense lawyer that I've primarily been doing over the years, as well as a business owner. I have, just a little bit of background for me, since graduating I have tried, I think now, well in excess of 100, I think in excess of 125 jury trials. Someone in my office a couple of years ago did a search on the appellate cases I've been involved in. I think I have 30 to 40 reported appellate cases I've argued and handled, as well as several cases I've argued in the Missouri Supreme Court. I'm familiar with this area. I think that's probably why I was asked to talk today. We have a serious problem with the state and need of court reform in general. Specifically, I think we need it for medical malpractice caps. We've had that for 20, 25 years until a year or so ago it was taken by the Supreme Court. We have issues involving joint and several liability, general bad faith law, time limit demands, and a lot of other things. Now, those issues I raise are very important to this state. People like me, especially that have businesses, especially on the Missouri, Kansas area, and my office is literally about half a mile in my house from a road called State Line. And there was a lot of pressure on businesses like ours to move to Kansas for these various reasons and other reasons, including taxes and employment law, things like that. We have this need, and I don't know whether this committee or another committee at this time or some other time may take up some of these other issues, but that's part of a broader problem we have in this state that's anti-business. Not good for anybody in the state. And again, we heard some comments about insurance premiums. And, when large judgments are collected from an insurance company, they're not paid by the chiefs of the Middle East. They're paid by policyholders here in Missouri, business people, business owners, and people that pay premiums. What I'm going to talk to you about today, in the time that I have, and answer any questions, is this specific bill. Because there is a general need for tort reform in other areas, but this bill is specific and tight to deal with a number of issues that I grant you are somewhat technical. And I don't want to be too technical on this, but I want to kind of describe what this does and why we need it, why it is fair, and it is balanced in everybody's interest. Number one, kind of just generally, this is kind of the order of the bill, reservation of rights. I'll talk a little bit about what that does, the problem we have, and why we need to change it. Number two, damages should be capped to policy limits unless there's bad faith. You're going to hear lawyers talk about bad faith. And bad faith is basically a tort in Missouri that if the insured, as the plaintiff, can show that their insurance company operated in quote bad faith, talking about it, of course, then they can't collect damages against their insurance company for damages in excess of the policy limits. If I have a $50,000 policy limit and I get hit with a $250,000 judgment, my insurance company would owe $50,000 of the policy, but if I can show bad faith, I can get the balance. That is not being changed. That is not being changed in this bill. The only thing that has been changed in this bill is the Supreme Court opinion that came out this summer, the Hire case, that indicates, and it's complicated, that even if there's no bad faith, an insurance company could be liable for an excess judgment. So that's part of this bill. There's a part of the bill is intervention, giving an insurance company a right, as a matter of law, as an indispensable party to intervene in a lawsuit. Right now, that cannot be done. You might hear counsel, and frankly, I had the advantage of testifying yesterday in the House. I heard my opposing counsel, so I have a little bit of an idea what they may say. You cannot enter. It's a practical matter, and there's no right to do that. Two of the cases that we cited, the Remco case and the McKelvey case, you simply do not allow it. It's confusing at best. As a practical matter, I've had cases, one up, frankly, one of my speakers here, Mr. Sanders, okay, that there was an excess judgment. The insurance company, my firm was involved with the insured, and it gets a little complicated, and then he kind of took over because they had, I believe, a collusive agreement, and then the insurance company tried to intervene. Clay County was not allowed to do that. So don't believe it when it's said that the insurance company can intervene in these cases, because they cannot. Don't believe it when the opposition says that a declaratory judgment action can be filed to determine coverage, because you'll hear about that. And yes, that's technically true, but what happens is a declaratory judgment action, which is filed by the insurance company to determine coverage. It can be filed in federal court, but then once there's a judgment and a garnishment filed in state court, the federal court's dismissed. They say it's not a federal issue. And even if you kept it in state court, it's still, the DEC action, the declaratory judgment action, takes time. It's a lawsuit. You have to file a petition, get an answer filed, take discovery. And frankly, there's not enough time to get a determination of coverage before the insured and the plaintiff do what I believe is a collusive deal that we're going to talk about in a minute. This is what this is all about. Okay? And then any judgment, part of the bill is any judgment that is obtained ultimately for one of these deals has to be through a contested adversarial process. And those are the words in the bill, and they're actually defined. So you just got to have a laid-out pretend sham trial, because that's what's happened, as I'll explain. And we get these verdicts that are well in excess of whatever is reasonable. That's why we're doing it. And I'll give you some examples of it. I've been involved in some of them. And then finally, the 065 agreements that are kind of complicated. So these involve a lot of issues. They really do. And I know I don't have an hour to talk to you about these. I will save 2 more minutes and answer any questions that we have. But basically, the reservation of rights, what we need to do in Missouri really is an outlier, is to give the insurance company an opportunity to take a look at coverage and provide a defense. They want to provide a defense. And in Missouri, under the Butters case and others, the insured can say, I don't want to take your defense, and then go do a collusive deal with the plaintiff's counsel and have a jury or a verdict from a judge as well in a sense. What we want to do is what we do in every other state, is to let the insurance company defend their insured and their reservation of rights, and then deal with the coverage issue in due course without being subjected to the astronomical, huge verdict that's well in excess of reason. And that's the reason for the problem.
All right, thank you for your testimony here. Any questions of this? But I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch up. I'm going to have somebody testify now in opposition, because we're going to run out of time here in a minute. I'm going to kind of, that's all right, you, Mr. Chairman, we'll switch it up a little bit, because we're going to be allowed to hear probably 2 or 3 more testimonies probably. So somebody in opposition at this point. And any questions of this? Are you attorney from Kansas City? You
I am, yes.
Does the Kansas City Chiefs have any kind of lawsuit against the Indianapolis Colts?
Maybe they should.
No, they shouldn't. Yeah, thank you. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Next in opposition. Whenever you're ready.
My name is Steve Garner, and I'm president of the Missouri Association of Trial Attorneys. I've been a practicing lawyer for 28 years. Through that period of time, I've represented a lot of different people, businesses, and doctors and hospitals. This bill is bad, in my opinion, and I would ask the commission to strike it down, because it harms everybody in the state, or potentially everybody has to have insurance. Every driver, every small business, every hospital, every city. If you look through the cases that this overturns, you're going to see that there is a case involving a hospital that was wrongfully denied coverage. The city of Independence was wrongfully denied coverage. And so what this bill does, it allows insurance companies to deny claims with impunity. The way things work at the present time, if I'm a small businessman and somebody is injured on my premises, or one of my drivers injures somebody, the insurance company, if a claim is made, the insurance company's contacted. Now, the worst news that you can have as a small business person is you're not covered. The second worst news is you're not covered, but under this bill, you have to accept representation by our lawyer. No man can serve two masters, and that's the way it is in this instance, and that's the way the court in the state of Missouri and 16 other states have decided that as a matter of law, there's a conflict of interest when the insurance company is providing a defense under reservation of rights. Why is that? Because if there are policy defenses, you've got a lawyer who is now representing you who has 65 cases with the insurance company, 125, take your pick, I don't know. And now this insurance company is saying, we don't think there's coverage because that driver wasn't in the course and scope of employment. Now, do you think that lawyer is going to try to prove that he was in the course and scope of employment so that that small business gets coverage? Or is that lawyer going to prove, or try to prove, or at least have hesitancy proving that issue? And I've seen it. Lawyers don't like to be in that position generally because they have that pressure. And so the way it is right now, an insurance company, if they deny coverage, try to defend under reservation of rights, small business, the driver, whoever it is, they can either agree to accept that defense or they can reject it. If they reject it, they have a right to consult their own attorney and to enter into an agreement that's advantageous to that business. And it's a freedom of contract issue, basically, is what it is. And under this bill, you're denied the freedom of the contract to protect your interest as a business when your insurance company denies. Under this bill and under the law, an insurance company that rightfully denies coverage has no penalty. They don't pay. But in many cases, the insured can get protection from any judgment as the law currently stands to a contractual agreement. The bill is bad for consumers. They pay, I don't know what the latest survey is about the amount that the average Missourian pays for insurance. Small business, doctors, anybody. And in the end, it of course harms consumers because insurance companies delay and deny paying injured parties by claiming there's no coverage. Happy to answer any questions.
I'm sorry, any questions of the witness? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Next up in favor.